Welcome to the Death to the Org Chart podcast with Jeffrey DeMure, your guide to entrepreneurial freedom. Today, we will be exploring going through life consciously. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the conversation.
Going through life consciously. Do you think about what you're doing from one moment to the next? You know, there's a lot of people that don't. And in this day and age, there are so many things that are vying for our attention. Social media. It's so easy to do what we call doom scrolling. And you begin to watch one video. I don't want to mention any names, TikTok, but you can look TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and you can begin to follow a thread, YouTube. Next thing you know, 2 hours later, you've just ingested a whole lot of brain cookies. There's no calories for your mind, but you've entertained yourself. My question to you today, my friends, is how much of a diet of that is good for you? How much of that should you be taking in? It depends. If you've got 2 or 3 or 4 hours of discretionary, disposable time every day, I suppose that's a good thing. But what you're doing is you're letting others decide what gets into your brain, what gets into your heart, and what gets into your spirit. So those empty calories of intellect that you're allowing in, they will have an influence on you. And I would suggest that it's not all really good. So if you decide to do that, that's great. My encouragement is whatever you do, be aware of it, right? Socrates said that a life unexamined isn't worth living. My oldest son is in college, and he told me the other day, he said, "Dad, do you think about, 1 minute to the next?" I said, "Yes, I have an internal dialogue." He goes, "Yeah, me too." He said 75% of all people don't have an internal dialogue, and they just go from one thing to another thing to another thing. Now, I don't think it's 75%, but even if it's 33% or 50%, that's a lot of us that don't think about what we're doing and where we're going. That's the value that goals represent. Dan Sullivan once said that a bored entrepreneur is a dangerous entrepreneur because you've got the resources and you've got the time to be able to do things, and not all of them are really, really good. If you're bored, your propensity towards doing things that maybe aren't benefiting you, doom scrolling is one of them that I just gave you. I'm sure that you can imagine others, right? There's this concept that I learned recently from one of the young people that works for me, and it's called day drinking. Evidently, it's a thing. And in order to do it, you have to start during the day. I can't imagine that makes for a particularly great night unless it leads to night drinking. And then what does that lead to? Morning drinking? See my point? That if you're not aware of how you are making the choices that you are in life, then you're probably not going to have the level of success that you could in life. And when we as entrepreneurs get to a certain level of success, if we don't have another goal, what we will do is that we will make lives not good, either our own or the people around us, because you've been able to be successful as an entrepreneur and get to a certain level, and then maybe you're not challenging yourself enough anymore. As a result, you begin to let that spill over into the relationships that you have in business and in your family, and trying to help others within your world to become better. And what you end up being is you end up being boring and obnoxious, because what you do is you then try to help other people, help, quote unquote. You try to find ways that other people could be doing their life differently. This is a recipe for not good things in your life. So how might this apply to your business and to your life? Well, we like to say in our business that we love to be a hero to someone, that we love to solve problems that are really tough. The only way that you can do that is by having good relationships with the people that you work with, that you work for, who you provide your goods and services to, is understanding what it is that they're facing as far as challenges go. And once we are equipped with that, once we have that understanding of what those challenges are and where people want to go, then we can become a hero to them because we've got the information that we need. The other side of that is just bringing the idea of the week to the people that are in our world, right? You read something, you see something on one of your social media feeds, and you believe that everybody needs to know about that. There's a time for that, but I would suggest that it's really pretty small, and I would save that for when you can put it on an agenda for a retreat, right? Or for a quarterly meeting. That's the time to do those kinds of things. To do that on a regular basis, on a daily basis. How do I know this so much? I used to be that guy. I was the idea of the week, right? Solar fields along the edges of runways. That was my business partner. That wasn't me. Floating houses, right? That could be done. It's a Danish idea, and my thought was that when the earth melts and the water levels rise, that everybody will be living on the waterfront, right? We'll have beachfront property all around us, and so why not create these floating houses? Well, the great misnomer is you have to put a process in place to make that happen. And there's a point as entrepreneurs where we can go over the line of distinctive. And do you know where one step over that line from distinctive is? Weird. It's the weird world. There's not the infrastructure in place. There's not the ability to be able to execute on that. This is particularly important with people that we have on the front stage. They can be wildly creative. We've found that when we have young professionals that have recently graduated from college, that they have these ideas about how the world should work. And so they believe that idea that they have about how the world should work, everybody should have benefit of it. And when you put them on the front stage, they just scare the clients. They just scare people that are around them because there's such a disconnect. There's a time and a place for that, but it is not necessarily untethered on the front stage. And that's why having this cultural awareness of who we are is so important. So, with that in mind, the hero aspect of how the backstage works is very much the same way. It's understanding what it is you want to do and how it is you need to get there. Even if you choose to spend a couple of hours every day on social media, feeding your brain those empty calories, think about it. Think about if that's the best use of your time. Think about what you could be putting in your brain that'll benefit you and the people around you and your business so that you can be a hero to other people. Because as entrepreneurs, it's what we love to do. We love to be helpful. Doing it with the right context is what's really important. And asking yourself these questions about what is it I should be doing. If you're unclear, ask the people that are closest to you. I have people around me, they're really happy to tell me what I should be doing. And sometimes I even enjoy it.
Thank you for joining us for the Death to the Org Chart podcast with Jeffrey DeMure. Be sure to subscribe on Facebook, iTunes, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. To get more information about Jeff or to order your copy of the book, Death to the Org Chart, go to dttoc.com. Go create the freedom you were meant for.